Well, hello everyone. I am sure that the live stream is about to start, and I'm going to also record.
Recording in progress.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is Coach Carla Joy. Welcome to Doctor's Orders. I am so glad that you're here with us this evening. Now, we're part of a healthy living community that we know it as the Juice Plus Company. The company started years ago when Jay Martin wanted to build a sustainable company that would allow each of us to fulfill our dreams. Although we started with water filtration and then went into air filtration, and that was in the 1970s, we moved into nutrition when the Juice Plus was first developed by a happy connection between the Juice Plus company and Dr. Santillo. Now, what Juice Plus is concentrated fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And we're going to talk just a little bit about that later on. But this evening, as we always do on Doctor's Orders, we want to talk about some issues that are pertinent to our health. I'm going to talk today about menopause. Now, very often, um, we share information here, and we want you to know that the information is for your education. And we encourage you not to make changes to your health plan, to any medications that you've been prescribed without having a conversation with your physician, with your medical team about the choices that you'd like to make. They're part of your team, they know you, and they understand the interactions of the medication and the protocol that they have created for you. So, this evening, I would like to share with you some information that I gathered from one of my mentors, Dr. Neil Barnard. He's the president and founder of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Now, Dr. Barnard runs a clinic in the Washington, D.C. area where the medical doctors also practice lifestyle medicine. And that is where they actually they conduct the tests, the examinations, just like any other um, trained medical professional. But they also look at lifestyle as part of the treatment that people can utilize when dealing with diseases. Now, the Physicians Committee for Lifestyle Medicine also has a program called the Exam Room. And on one of those programs, Dr. Barnard spoke about a topic that is near and dear to many of our hearts. Now, as women, we know that we go through different phases in our lives that mark our reproductive milestones. So, when we are younger, we go through a process that starts our menstrual cycles, menarche, that's one way of pronouncing it. And then there's a point where that our reproductive cycles stop, and that's known as menopause. Now, in the United States, according to Dr. Barnard and the research that he's done, 80% of American women experience experience side effects or experience symptoms of menopause that are unpleasant. These include night sweats, hot flashes, and interrupted sleep, vaginal wall thinning, and bloating, weight gain. Now, in his talk and in his book, Your Body in Balance, Dr. Barnard reveals some of the information about why this even happens. I don't know if you know, but there were areas in this world where women would experience menopause, but not experience the negative symptoms and side effects that I just mentioned. One of those countries was China. Before the 1980s, researchers found that less than 10%, or between 10 and 15% of women in China experienced any perimenopausal symptoms. And if they did, those symptoms were very mild. Same for Japan. But during the 1980s and 1990s, there was an influx and there were lots of changes in how the society in Japan and China. Um, and what they found was that women and the culture in general moved away from a rice-based diet more of a standard American diet. There were a lot of fast food places, a lot of the thinking of eating the way Americans eat. Um, one of the one of the researchers thought that the presence of soy in the China and Japanese diets may have contributed to the minimal symptoms that they experienced around menopause. They also found by doing the research that there were actually compounds in soy products known as soy isoflavones. And these soy isoflavones, because they had a similar structure to estrogen and the cholesterol based hormones, they felt that maybe this was one of the reasons why women in places like China and Japan were not experiencing these negative side effects around menopause. But they also found that there were South American countries, including Mexico, and they found that there were communities there, um, native communities, where in some of the communities, the word menopause and the symptoms for menopause don't even have a definition because the women don't usually experience those symptoms. And what they found was those communities, they had a diet that was um, rich in rice and grains, corn, black beans, but they didn't have soy. So the question is, well, what is it that makes the difference that these communities would have um, different diets and still not have some of the symptoms that we experience? Well, Dr. Barnard wrote his book, Your Body in Balance, and a woman reached out to him and said that she had applied his protocol of going whole food plant based. And within 5 days, her hot flashes and other negative symptoms had actually gone away. He was quite surprised because even with the communities that he'd worked with, 5 days was rather fast for seeing a change in the symptoms. So he did some research. He brought in some people who were experiencing hot flashes, and they divided them into two groups. All of the women were postmenopausal, and the control group was asked not to change their diet. They all wanted relief from their symptoms, but they were asked not to change their diet. And then there was another group that was asked to change their diet to go to whole food plant based and to add half a cup of soy products. And these, of course, would be non GMO soy products. So the eating plan that they followed was no animal products. It was whole food plant based. They would to keep the oils very low, and they would to add the soy products. After 12 weeks of these protocols, they found that those who had not made any changes actually experienced a slight increase in weight. Those women who had gone on the dietary protocol had experienced a weight loss of an average of about 8 pounds in 12 weeks. But what about the hot flashes? What about the negative symptoms that they had come into the time experiencing? Well, those who had continued their dietary plan, there was some slight decrease in hot flashes. So if they had been an average of about 4 or 5 hot flashes a day, then it had gone down closer to 3. But those who are experiencing the dietary change, they went from about 4.5 to 4.9 hot flashes a day down to less than 1 hot flash a day. So that was a significant drop from the number of hot flashes and seen by those who had been eating the soy and the whole food plant-based eating plan. So the question came up, well, was it the soy or was it the whole food plant eating plan that led to an 84% reduction in hot flashes and other negative symptoms associated with menopause? They also found that that when people when they looked at a group that had just soy as the intervention, that there was some small decrease in hot flashes. And they found that women who had gone on a whole food plant-based eating plan, if that was the change they made, that they would experience a decrease. But it seemed to be a combination of those two and one more. They also had to have a low fat eating plan. So a low fat eating plan, if you look at the meals that you're eating or the foods that you're consuming, and you see that they are less 3 grams of fat or less, that would constitute low fat. So it's important that we know that for these are the 3 components that went into the protocol that resulted in an 84% decrease in hot flashes. So there was even more evidence because they did a follow-up study, because one of the things that they were wondering is, in the fall, it's getting cooler and cooler. And maybe people were not, they were actually wearing a monitor so that they could identify and log in their the hot flashes. But he was wondering, is it because it's getting cooler that they were also, if that played a part in reducing the hot flashes? So he did another study, but he did it in the springtime. So it was getting warmer and warmer. And the same results applied. So they thought maybe the reason why this protocol worked, maybe it's because there are women in the group who are their gut microbiome is able to take the soy isoflavones and convert them into a super chemical that would rapidly reduce the hot flashes. And they found that it wasn't that. It's whether the women were producing that super chemical from their gut. Bacteria was producing that super chemical that they called equal or not. All the women who had the 3 components, they added a half cup of soy, they went on a whole food plant-based eating plan, and their eating plan was low in fat, they all saw the same decrease in hot flashes and other symptoms. So they discovered that dietary change is so powerful that it can produce that 84 to 88% change in symptoms. So they also did some statistical analysis to show that this was not due to chance, that the research was really valid, and that that making those dietary changes could really make that difference. Now, not everyone may want to go become completely vegan. But if a person is experiencing hot flashes and other difficult side effects of menopause, then they may want to consider, at least for several months, applying Dr. Barnard's protocol. And again, I recommend his book, Your Body in Balance, to see some of the recipes that were developed to help people transition to a more and more plant-based eating plan. You may know or be familiar with the Physicians Committee on Responsible Medicine, their plate. And the plate, that sustainable plate, contains fruit, vegetables, grains, peas, and beans. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the S word, sugar. And, refined sugars are really can be pro-inflammatory. But fruits and vegetables, especially if you eat lots of vegetables and a little less fruit, then they all contain naturally occurring sugars that are attached to fiber. And that fiber is a real game changer in the process, because our bodies are so beautifully designed. Our bodies produce estrogen, cholesterol, and many other substances. And our body also gets rid of the excess, but it needs the fiber to help move those excess hormones that your body is pushing into the gut. The liver passes and other organs pass those excess chemicals, the excess cholesterol, the excess estrogen into the gut, so that the fiber in the food that we eat can trap it and move it through the gut. And even the gut microbiome can also convert some of those fibers into compounds that our body uses to improve our health. So I just wanted to share with you some of that data from the research. I'm trying to find the name of the study. Um, um, Once I find the name of the study, I'll let you know. It was written down here, but in any case, you can hear about it from the podcast and from Dr. Barnard's book, Your Body in Balance. So what do we do? Even if you don't have Dr. Barnard's book, are there things that you can do today? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Um, we uh, we can help you get started on a whole food plant-based eating plan. Now, what does that mean? It means that 90% of your calories come from whole foods like fruit, vegetables, grains, peas, and beans. It will not include any dairy products. The meals would be high in fiber, because you're eating the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, the peas and beans. It will be low in fat, because you're not going to add as much fat. And water would be your main drink. Research was done on people who were eating high fat meals, and they discovered that we can get used to eating foods with less fat. And our own chef Karen can usually shows us how to prepare meals that are low in fat. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to remove all fat from your eating plan. As I told you, if you have 3 grams of fat per serving or less, that is considered low fat. So you could have fat in your meals, and maybe you eat something that has a little more fat, but the rest of your meal is low fat. That would be that would help you move towards a an eating plan that doesn't have as much fat. But for those of us who would like a jump start in this process, well, we're really glad that you are here tonight, whether you're live or you're watching a replay, because the Juice Plus products could be what could help you bridge the gap between what you're eating right now and what you should be eating to experience fewer menopausal symptoms. Now, Juice Plus does not treat or cure any diseases, but because it is whole food and because it's plant based and because of the quality of the fruits and vegetables, the grains that have been grown in pristine conditions, and they're not picked until they're completely ripened so that they have the highest level of nutrients. Some nutrients aren't even found in fruits and vegetables until they are completely ripened. And our fruits and vegetables are completely ripened. And then, as quickly as possible, once they're picked, they're washed and flash frozen and crushed and concentrated into capsules. So they contain 30 fruits and vegetables, grains, and legumes that are a wide variety, usually the wider variety than we usually get. Most people eat, even if they like variety, they tend to eat a small range of foods. They don't consistently eat 30 fruits and vegetables. So adding the Juice Plus capsules or the chewables to what you're currently eating can help you jumpstart that journey to eating more healthfully in a way that will um, allow your body to experience the benefit of eating whole food plant based. In addition to the fruits and vegetable capsules and gummies, we also have the complete shakes, the perform shakes, which are used by people who are more athletic. And we now also have the Luminate, which is a wonderful, refreshing drink that allows us to experience calming energy focus so that we can have energy without having being jittery and allows us to focus as well. We can talk more about the contents of the Juice Plus products and the impact that they can make on your health. But I'd like you to talk to the person who invited you because they cared enough for you to give you access to this information. We are here to inspire healthy living around the world. We know that we've been taught many different things, and people are always asking me, well, what about this and what about that? I call myself a foundationalist. And the analogy that I use is that if you were going to buy a house, you'd usually have somebody come and inspect it. And if you found that there were cracks in the windows and that the doorways weren't exactly straight, you could think, well, all we'd have to do is change the windows and change the doors. But the inspector would probably go into the basement to find out why. What is causing these windows to crack and these doors to be out of alignment? And they may find that there's something in the foundation that needs to be supported. Well, the American diet is something like that. Our healthy lifestyles need foundational adjustments. And we've come up with what I call the 6 pillars of health that need to be added to our foundation. I call them water, walking, sleep, de-stressing, detoxing our environment, and adding whole food plant-based eating. The Juice Plus company provides um, the Shred 10 program, and we're upgrading to a new program. Stay tuned. so that you can hear more about it. And this is how we can help you jumpstart your healthy living journey. So I hope that the information that we've shared with you today will be helpful. It will give you hope that you don't have to have the symptoms that we described at the beginning of this presentation. According to Dr. Neil Barnard's book and the research that was done, we now know that we can support a healthy transition to menopause without experiencing these symptoms. And if you have been experiencing them, then you can have hope by making these one simple changes of experiencing better health, more vitality, and fewer of the side effects that we mentioned earlier. If you would like to know more, speak to the person who invited you. We would love to do a three-way call with you where we can listen to your situation and maybe make some recommendations to help support you on your healthy living journey. This is Coach Carla Joy, and I'll be signing off. But before I do, I want to encourage you to stay tuned so that you can you can ask some questions if you have any. And also, I'd like those of you who are on the line to unmute and then say what we always say when we talk together. Because if you want health, then you want to
Eat
Eat
more
more
fruits
fruits
and
and
vegetables.
vegetables.
That's right. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Thank you so much for joining. Stay after I end the recording so that you can ask questions, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Okay, let's see if we can end the YouTube. Stop the recording first. Okay, I'm no longer the host,
You're no longer the host?
the co-host.
Okay. I thought I made you host. What happened? All right, let me make you. There you go. I'll make you co-host. There you go. Now you can stop
Thank
it.
you.
I can't find my controls at this moment. I don't know what I did this time. But my controls are gone.
That's okay. I'm just still trying to stop the YouTube.
Oh. So
It's okay. I'm just trying to stop the YouTube. It's not working.
did it stop yet? YouTube.